Hello, Judith.
Hallo Nils.
Welcome back to the show.
Yes.
Welcome back to the show. For everyone joining us right now, Judith, a full stack developer, and myself, more of a UI and UX person, I would say, are building a full stack prototype based on React and SuperBase. And we're at episode 8. We're
8. Wow.
Yeah, we're hacking around to show how you can build something that actually has data storage as a prototype in your projects, so you can build something that's maybe a little bit more than a clickable prototype. And where did we leave off in the last episode?
I think we managed to finish all of our CRUD applications. So far it was really, hacky, prototypey. We wanted to make it work first. So right now we can add books to our virtual bookshelf. We can delete books, edit them, and what's the fourth one? Oh, well, display them, obviously. So fetch and display books. So I think functionality-wise, we're doing pretty well. So we thought that today we would try to make it look nice a little bit. Because, the front end is built in React, and then we have our backend and database in SuperBase. But we are also using Tailwind for CSS, and we are using Shatzen, which is a UI component library. And I think there's lots of room for small improvements. And I'm looking forward to this episode. And
Super cool.
also, I will probably this time lean back a little more and watch in awe as you.
Let's see. Maybe I can.
I will
drag
just
you into
complain all the time. No, not like that.
So, I mean, from the two of us, we totally know by now that you're much more qualified to architect an app like this, and I'm always the one messing it up a little bit. I'm good at Tailwind and CSS. I think where we can still totally overlap in this episode is, like, I usually plow ahead and just make stuff myself. But since you work with Shatzen, like, maybe let's show everyone what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So we have this library that I feel looks a lot like Vercel.com. I suspect some involvement in here. But so maybe you can protest and say, stop. There's a component for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see.
I think that would be nice. And the nice thing about Shatzen is if you use one of the components, it's not an NPM package or something that you just install, but rather you basically just copy the code for the component into your own code folder, which means you can customize it. So if we want to say, for example, so this dialogue we have right now for adding a new book, that's Shatzen. And if we say for some reason we don't like the way it looks, like you want a different border radius or whatever, we can just jump right into the component and make changes there. So it's really, it integrates super nicely with Tailwind. And it's designed so that you can make changes to the components. So
Super awesome.
Yeah.
We can see it right here. Hey, it's just the code. It has regular class names on it. Like, you can stick another one onto the dialog header to kind of extend on the ones they have. But we could literally go in here and say, this is not something for flex column people. Please use grid. And then change that if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Perfecto. Okay, so for what we wanted to build is just like a little tiny companion app for people to collect their favorite books. This is the example that we picked. So I think, and you can also totally help me with this one, Judith. I always tell our clients, yes, we can make pretty design, of course, but without content, no pretty design. So maybe let's chuck a couple books in there
Yeah,
with content that actually, you know, is representative of how it would be used, I suppose. So if we go on here, book title is clear, author name too, but I'm wondering, for example, how much of a description will people put in there? Like, we just have a single line now, so it's probably not going to be super exhaustive,
exactly. Same for
right?
the
But
personal
also,
notes. Hey, I think we could at
yeah,
some point elaborate if that should rather be a text
yeah,
area. But
exactly. Same for
yeah,
description, maybe too. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna put in like an example book title is probably fine, and then Jack Black is gonna be the author, just because we
nice.
watched Kung Fu Panda yesterday evening, and I love Jack Black. A book about everything and nothing, but also about the universe. I love this book because it's totally open-ended. I got to decide how the plot twists. 4-star rating, because we only have 5-star ratings in here. All right.
Nice. Makes
So
sense.
where should we start, Judith? I know you're bugged by the red button, so maybe let's do something about the
I'm not
delete and
bugged
edit things.
too much, but I think that would be one thing. I find the trash can button a bit too aggressive right now.
Totally. So, okay, so in here, we are using the button that Shatzen is providing for us, and we're also using their icons, right? Is that true?
Yes and no. So Shatzen comes with a set of icons that's called, I think, Lucide. Lucide? I don't know
Yeah.
if they are French. No idea.
Lucide.
Lucide. But yeah, if
Lucide.
you use a Shatzen component, basically you already have all the Lucide icons, so we can use them out of the box.
Perfecto. Okay, so I mean, maybe as a little side thing, I'm a huge fan of CSS. I think we're using Tailwind in this because I think we both believe that it's just very practical to get off the ground quickly, and I just want to avoid any huge discussions between CSS and Tailwind.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of both, so I'll just use Tailwind for however far we can, and if we at some point really need like custom CSS because we're chucking all 37 classes, then we can also totally do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So okay, I think I would suggest to maybe move down, edit and delete to the bottom of the card, maybe.
Yes, that makes sense
Right.
because also in especially in this screen resolution that you're sharing right there, we can already see that it looks a bit weird for the last two books. Well, now it
Yeah.
looks nice again, but there's like a few screen sizes where,
Yeah.
yeah,
On here it works
funny
fine, right?
things. Yeah, that looks good, I would say. Then, yeah, that looks a bit weird, I think.
We can also, I mean, the way this works right there is not on the book, but is on the element that contains all those books. And so that's a trick I really love about Grid, is that you can just, from the container, you can just, without any breakpoint, you can just say, look, make columns. All right. Make columns as many as you like. They can be as wide as they want to be. That's what this one fraction unit thing means. Don't worry about it. Just remember as wide as you want to, but at least 22 characters. So this could be 400 pixels, and then it would
Ooh,
look different,
yeah.
right? Like whenever it can fit another 400 into the viewport width, and it
Yeah.
will do so.
Nice.
But pixels is a little bit unflexible when it comes to accessibility stuff. So 400 pixels is going to be 400 pixels even if you zoom in on the text size, right? And
Yeah.
I don't know, even my mom does that, and then she will have weird wrapping of text and so on. So either you go for, like, I think what many people know is the REM unit, right?
Yeah.
That's definitely a valid option. And in some cases, I like this this characters unit that's available in CSS, because you basically say, make this as wide as 28 characters of the font that you have in this element. Yeah.
But which font would that be in our case? Because, for example, our title is big and bold and large. So
Yeah, that is very true. In this case, I think it's going to fall back to the to what's defined. So it works a little bit like EM, the unit. So
yeah.
it looks at the font size that's defined for this element. And so in this case, you're absolutely right. It will
Okay.
be
Yeah.
calculated on the wrong base, so to say,
Okay.
because the font in the title is bigger. So it actually doesn't really matter. Like, I think for it to be as easy as possible, let's do 35 rem. So let's see. I think that is maybe even way too big. Like, what? 20 times 16, as because 16 is the body font size. So 320 pixels in my case. Let's try that. 320. Yeah, I think that's probably fine, hey?
Yeah, that looks good.
Because smaller than this, we don't really want it to be crammed together smaller than that,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
No, I think that looks quite nice. Um,
cool.
I had a question. Ah, yeah. Can you explain to me, like I'm a 5-year-old, why you like Grid so much, and why you use it instead of Flexbox? And now, maybe not like I'm a 5-year-old, because I am aware that a grid, of course, is much more useful if you really have a 2-dimensional layout. Like, you know that it's not going to be a row or a column, but rather this matrix-like structure. But I guess in our case, we could also say this is a flex row which wraps, right? It would yield the
Absolutely.
same result, but it would just be more complicated to
So,
code, or
hey, not really. Like in this case, we could totally just leave the gap here and say flex, and we would say flex wrap. So the children can wrap onto the next line, and then we just get rid of this thing and do this.
ooh,
And I think this
yeah,
is like
okay.
this is kind of a good example of how I decide if it's flex or grid. Like, I'm not against flex. I love them both,
Yeah,
but so my main decision making criteria, so to say, if I should be using it, if I should be using one or the other, is so flex deals with the everything about flex comes from the item itself, like from one item, right? So
yeah,
in default mode, flex looks at whatever item it's dealing with right now. And grid is kind of the opposite. That goes from the parent container, and it kind of dictates to the children what's going to happen. And so if I want something tidy, then I usually opt for grid, because in that case, I don't have to do anything to make them the same size, right?
Yeah.
And we can achieve the same thing with Flex. Like in this case, we can totally go onto the book, and we probably will have to give it like a It's already a
You don't
tricky
have to do
question.
it. Like,
No, we can, like, we don't have to delve super deep, but so, like, just to, to give
yeah.
ourselves an idea. So we could now, like, to make 2 columns, we could probably just say bases 1/2.
Ooh, I don't
Is
know
that the
that
way
one.
to do it? Yeah. And
Yeah.
so now we can see that we kind of have an issue because this is half of the container, but on the container, we have the gap right here. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit too wide. I guess if we take it out, then it does the same thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like without going into details, like I'm happy to do a deep dive on this at some point if anyone's interested. But so I think in a nutshell is that for example, if you have like a main navigation where you have like five things in it, and you kind of want the same space between all of them, but one is short and one is long, it's a perfect use case for Flex.
Yeah.
But whenever you
Yeah.
want something that is tidy over n amount of columns,
Yeah.
then you're just much easier off with grid, because grid doesn't care what the child wants.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was the perfect example, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Wicked. Yeah. So, well, I think from a visual standpoint, I think I'd go ahead and also let's get rid of this whole border thing. I think we don't really need a border on this sort of stuff. Like, let's see if we can get away with no border.
Yeah.
And let's move. Oh no, first, sorry. Let's move those edit buttons. They are contained in this thing. Let's move them to the bottom of the card, like that. And then let's maybe have a little separating line on top of those icons. Let's say border top, and then border, like slate 100 or something. Yeah, that's kind of, we could also actually go ahead and, no, let's not go crazy.
What did you have in mind?
No, I was being stupid. So I was wondering, how do I define the size of the icons on this? Is this also like a...
Yeah, so that's the nice thing. The icons also integrate with Tailwind. So you could just do, for example, W5H5 for
Ooh, nice.
like a square 5 something icon.
Awesome.
I think they also, you could try on the edit icon. I think they also have like a property size maybe. So
Okay, so they do get smaller. Let's see.
I think they also, size, and then it's probably just like something like small and medium, so not numbers, but numbers might work as well.
Well, it's giving me an object
Yeah.
thing, so it's probably expecting like a...
Ooh.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's pixel values. So that's 20 or whatever. Like this is a 12 pixel icon.
Okay, yeah.
Fine, whatever. Let's use that.
That's
Let's
maybe
use the API.
the easiest
That's all right.
way. But yeah, if you wanted to change the color, for example, you could just do class name and then text color, whatever.
Oh, cool.
Tailwind.
But now they are kind of shrinking inside of the button that probably has a defined size because I'm using this size. So I'm using this button
Yeah.
button size icon from Shatzen, and I think they just they kind of they have a style. It's called New York. I like what they're doing here. It's just I was wondering if we can reduce the padding on the or if we want any padding at all.
I think you can. I think even on the button component, what happens if you just change the class names on the button component? So if you go to the, I mean, that would be for all buttons, I guess. But if you just go back to our book component and
Here.
on the button where you want to reduce the padding,
Okay.
just go like class name and then like just for fun do P0 or something just to see if it works.
P0.
I don't know if you can override it like that. No, doesn't look like it, right?
Okay. Oh, I can go really big. But maybe it's not. Maybe it doesn't have padding.
Okay,
really.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
in this case, I think what we kind of want is that it's just the icon anyway. No?
Yes.
Or do we I kind of like the hover thingy on the other hand. So maybe let's just take out the descriptive
and I guess
thing.
that's also probably a question of accessibility again, right? If we just have the icon, we could just add the on-click function to the icon, I think, instead of the button. That should work.
I think so. If we could just have like a regular button that is unstyled, to really have a clickable element in HTML.
Yeah, true.
But on the other hand, what this really does is to give a good click or tap area for mobile devices too.
Yeah.
So I think we should stick with it. I kind of like it, and now that it's not so dramatically red anymore, I think that's also fine.
Yeah, I like it like this.
Yeah.
My issue right now is that I find like all the properties we have, except for the title, are kind of indifferentiable.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean? Like we have
Absolutely.
the author and the year and the rating and description. So I'm wondering what we do about that.
Let's totally fix that. So, I mean, let's make this also, more like a, I don't know, Sarah Lickler. Let's make it more of a name. And so I think it's relatively clear that that is the title of the book, I suppose.
Yes.
I think what's not necessarily clear is, I was going to say the differentiation between note and description. Like, we're not even getting the note yet. Or
good point.
Right?
Yeah.
Didn't we have a note?
Yeah, it was a personal note or something.
Oh, personal note. Yeah, personal note.
Yeah.
We're not even showing it yet. Awesome. Okay, let's get that in, because then the problem is just going to be bigger, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
personal node. Are you going to show me personal node? Do we have personal node?
We should have it, shouldn't we?
Let's check in our amazing database.
Personal notes.
Oh, personal nodes. Oh, we do
Yeah.
have them on 2 books.
Yeah, I think there's just an S missing.
Oh. Here.
Yes.
Yeah, perfecto. So I think these need labels, like or like at least the personal description. Like one of the 2 texts kind of has to say what it is, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was actually thinking of, how when you have to write a thesis in school or university or something, you have all the citations at the end, and it's kind of the same problem. You have all these information, and then there's these different citation styles where you have like italic and bold and like different combinations of different text styles to differentiate between the author and the year and the journal. And that's very similar here. So I was also thinking if we could put something in italic, but then maybe it looks also confusing. But I think, the author is kind of clear, I would hope. The year is kind of clear. I was even thinking if we could put the author and the publication year on one line with a comma. So just like, I don't know, Jack Black 2001 to make it even more clear that that's the author and the year.
Cool.
But maybe not. But yeah, I agree about description and personal notes. That's
Hey, I'm fiddling around with how can we
yes.
like instead of showing a 4 or 5,
Yes.
what's the hot trick to take an integer and loop over it that many times? Is a for loop, right?
I guess that would be a
Is
classic.
that
But we
the
don't
way
really.
to do it?
Yeah, but we don't really have that in this like JSX syntax, right? But you want to, that's the question. Do we actually, if we have, for example, 3 stars,
Yeah.
do we want to display like 3 filled stars and then 2 empty ones, or only the 3 filled stars?
Oh, I was a very good question. I was just with the displaying the stars for now, but we can also do that one, of course.
I don't know which one is easier or more difficult. I don't know.
So, but we have to loop anyway, right?
Yes.
How do I do that again?
Usually when we do these kind of things in React, we always have an array, right?
Exactly.
So if we have a book with a 3-star rating, we kind of want an array containing 1, 2, 3.
Can I say array from 5? Does that work?
I think so. Let me check.
From rating. Is that something we can do? No, it's not iteratable. That's not how it works.
Let me check. You could do array dot from
array from, yes.
And then in parentheses, array dot, so like within the parentheses, you would do array parentheses 5 dot keys. Does that make sense?
Like this?
And parentheses again after the keys, open and closing.
Ooh.
Yes, and now one's missing, I think. One
Oh,
more.
yeah.
Yes, this will probably be one too much because I assume it will be 0 indexed. So that should maybe yield 6 stars.
Oh yeah, something.
Oh yeah. Oh, but
It's
that's
actually
fine. We
fine.
just
So if I plug the rating in here,
yeah,
then yeah, that works already. Cool.
yeah, and now we can map and put the star.
Cool. So this is probably anything in here is probably my key, right? And I can go like this and have the star in there, and then to make React happy, to underscore key, right? Underscore key? No, just key.
No, I think it's just key. Yeah.
It's just key. Wicked. So that's kind of cool. And then we can also make this a little bit smaller and say, what did we have before? 16.
Yay.
Yeah, sure. And then on here, for example, I totally go flex just like that.
Perfect.
Because it's stuff in one line. You know, that's always awesome. And now maybe I'd probably... so maybe we chuck the personal notes and rating into one element that in fact will receive maybe just like, like a little headline that says notes, just like that. What do you think?
Yes.
And of course, not like this now. Now we'll just say, okay, you're like pretty small, like maybe like a really small, and then you're bold, font bold, and you're also uppercase.
Oh yes, I like that.
Right? And then so instead of putting a label on everything, I usually try and see if we can describe one piece of content.
Yeah.
So it will kind of separate itself from the rest of the content just by being defined by itself. Does that make sense? Like chucking everything about your personal notes? Cool. Okay.
Absolutely. And also I think it makes a lot of sense to group the personal notes and the rating, right? Because we kind of treated them as, they are separate properties, but they are related very much, whereas the rating is not at all related, I would say, to the description. So in my head, the description is more something you would get from the internet or something, the description you have on Amazon for the book or whatever.
Yes.
Oh yes, color.
I think there's also, is there like, how do they call that, star full? Or they have half stars. Ooh. I was wondering if they can have a, like a filled out star. But I actually
that's what I was thinking. Because ultimately what would be super nice is if we actually always displayed the 5 stars, and then you could rate by clicking on the stars, and then you would have that would be like the ultimate goal here, I think.
I agree. That would be cool.
But yeah, we should be able to somehow fill the icon, right?
I guess that there's a version of this that is,
Fill? What happens if we just do fill? Ah! I made it black.
Yeah, I get. Well, that
I
is
tried
probably the
one thing.
SVG fill. You know, and this falls back to black now because the default fill for an SVG is black, and I think you're filling the icon right now.
Yes, true.
I think they probably, let's check Lucid icons. They probably have just a version of the icon that is totally like a. So they are a
So
star.
for
There's a star. Oh, or not. I thought they would have a variant where all the icons are filled. But maybe not. Maybe lucid icons are meant to be outlined. Because look, they're all the same. Anyway, so I think what you said before was really good to say publication year and author in one line. So I'm going to turn the author into a span and stick everything in a paragraph.
nice.
Just like this. So if we have the publication year, then we can come on and maybe say comma.
Yes,
Something
I
like
like
this.
that.
Right?
Nice.
And now maybe I think this is not necessarily the final styling, but I really liked your idea of the italics. Because now I think semantically, like this is not the prettiest design of all times, but if we give this a little bit more gap between the items, maybe like this, then I think looking at one of them kind of makes sense now. From if you scan this, like the title is big and bold, then you get like a little bit of a jump out because it's italic. It's still the same size, right?
Yeah.
Then you follow by kind of naturally assuming that this is probably a description of whatever you're looking at over here, right? And then we chucked everything about your personal notion down here.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. I think I'm not entirely sure if this is the right place for the icons. I think
especially with the rating stars above.
Yes.
They look like they somehow look misaligned. I mean, I know they are not because it's like the padding we have from the button, I guess.
Exactly.
But what happens if we move them to the right instead? So the bottom right
we could totally
of the card.
move them to the right.
Do you think that helps, or is that?
Let's try. Let's try and see what happens. I think I have another secret plan, but only if Shatzen provides that. So interesting. Anyway, okay. So I was gonna say it's interesting that the buttons show up next to each other because they are just. Oh no, that's fine because they're an inline element. I was wondering why they are next to each other, even though we didn't specify anything like flex or whatsoever, but they're just inline. So in this case, let's give them like a super tiny gap and say justify. I don't know, I think it's content end. No, it's not.
I think it's justify, actually.
So
I think it's
end?
justify end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's cool. But you know why I think this is better, but I don't like that this has like that everything is on the left side here. Then there's this
Yeah.
funny empty space now.
Yes. Tell me about your secret plan.
I think what would be nicer, maybe, because this is very repetitive now from a visual impression. Like now you have all of these icons here, even though maybe your main job is not necessarily to edit or to delete. I guess the primary thing is to collect books. So, and
Yeah.
I really like the idea of being able to click on the stars, because that is something that is probably very direct and might even update, and you can just do that here.
Yeah.
And for these things where you open a dialogue or or get a warning and stuff like that, I think you couldn't see the warning, but there was an alert. Or can
No,
you
I
see
saw
it?
it. Yeah.
You can see it.
I
Perfect.
think because you're sharing your entire browser window. So
Cool. Those should be tucked away in a little um, I'm not
yes.
sure if I'm the only one who calls that kebab menu, but the one
I
with the
call
three
it the
little
burger
dots on it,
menu.
or a burger menu.
Ah. Yeah, because sometimes it's 3 little bars as well, right? And then it looks like a burger.
Yeah.
But
Let's see if they have something.
they definitely do, I think. I
I think
already
it's a
see it.
context menu.
Yes.
Is it a
Let's
context menu? Oh
check.
no, that's the right
Context
clicky
menu.
one.
Ah, true. Um,
I guess it's. I think they probably call it a drop down menu, and then we could put that into a. We can probably find the right icon for it.
yeah. Let me.
Here's for sure the burger thing. Yeah, something like this,
The
right?
burger thing? Or if you look for, I think it might be called more or something.
Oh, more. Yeah, because that's what
Is it
I'm
more?
trying to say.
No.
More. What about menu? Yeah, I think I'm looking for this one. Just the other way around. Oh, this one, yeah. I actually
You
think it
want
should be
them
rotated.
vertically?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this one. I'm looking for this one.
Yes. Let's go for that
Right?
one. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be cool to have it um, right next to the title, like all the way on the end, right here. You know? I
Yes.
think that would be nice. And then we can do that in the next episode to chuck these things, because then we can also, like, what I never really like about these actions, if they don't have a label in your UI, like
Yeah.
a pen and a trash can. All right, that's fine. It will
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
work out. But if it's a little bit more nuanced, I think it's really not the best user experience to, because of layout reasons, to hide what they do. And so if we
Yeah.
have a menu, we can really name them and say update
Exactly.
or edit and destroy this book forever, and, stuff like that.
Yeah. Nice.
Cool.
One tiny thing we should do is not display the notes heading if we don't have notes. If you look at Jane Austen, that
Yeah.
looks a bit weird.
Oh, that's a
Maybe
very good
that's the
point.
last tiny change we can make.
Absolutely. Oh, because we already kind of have it on here. Oh, no. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do.
Maybe if we just.
Can we say personal notes or rating?
Then it would still show up if we have a rating but no personal notes. Do we want that?
It's probably, it's more like a semantic issue with our headline. So what I mean is, if this would say personal annotations or something, then the headline would also cover the rating.
Yeah, that would be nice, but how would we call that? Yeah, we can think about it. But
yeah. I'll just keep it with notes for now.
yeah.
I think we kind of or hold on, maybe, yeah. We just do that's a more practical approach. I like it. I still kind of don't want the article thing. No, it's fine. It can be there. If we only have a rating, that the wrapping article element can still be there. So let's not make it more complicated than it needs to be. We'll just put this here. Then this goes like that. Oh. And then since we're in React land, we add a fragment, of course. And then it's like this. And so if test book can have a rating now of 1 measly star, then you don't have the notes headline and you still have a rating. I think that looks better. Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
And then another thing that we can fix in the next episode is for, that's also very confusing because we have these bars down here now that the elements are in different heights, right?
Yeah.
And it looks trashy because we have this element that's the same, but it's in various places and you don't really understand the layout. So
yeah.
let's assume for a second
we're gonna move the icons anyway, we said, right? So that should be fixed. But then it would, like, the question would remain, do we want, like, for example, the notes or the star rating in every card to be aligned or not? I think that's something maybe we can discuss.
Ooh.
I don't even know if it's possible, because that would be, what would it be? Like a nested grid situation or something? I don't know.
You just called for subgrid. And thankfully, it's a thing since like 3 months.
It's a thing?
It is a thing. And it solves exactly this problem.
Nice. So I think we have found Pandora's box that we're gonna open next time. What a nice.
It's actually super easy. It's very it's a little bit mind bending at first because it sounds like you're going to the core of the earth, but it's super straightforward and it solves for this situation that I at least have a lot with our customers where we say, like I usually put out cards that are as high as the content, and then there's 2 types of people. There's the one type that likes this layout because it makes sense that the card is just as high as the content, and there's the others who don't care about the content and want them the same height.
Yeah, we will see. We can play around with it a little bit, especially because already in these examples, we can see that the cards can be very different heights depending on how much info you put in. So we can discuss how to best handle that. Nice.
And what we can also do stuff like if this note is like 17 lines long, then we can go 2 ways. Like we could totally just use like the HTML details element and do something like only show the first line, then cut it off with a couple dots, give it and then use this expandy thing that shows the rest of it, for example.
Absolutely. Right. Or the question, we spoke about routing at some point, and if we want to add routes, that could also be a use case if we say, like, we tend to have very long descriptions or personal notes, that this is just a preview, and then you can click the card and navigate to like a full page view of the book.
Yes.
But we will see. Baby steps, and we'll discuss it next time.
That would also be very cool. Let's we could just start with the popover, for example, to just show it in a similar fashion as we do here, then we have a little bit more space.
Yeah.
That would be very nice too. I agree. Yeah,
Cool. This was
very
fun.
cool. This was fun. Awesome. Yeah, amazing. So for a change, a little bit more of a layout episode.
Yay.
Well, yeah, let's put one more of that kind of episode for next week,
Yeah.
and clean up our layout, and then I would really be excited to implement this star rating interaction. I think that can be kind of cool, and it's actually kind of intricate. I think because you have to do this this mouse hovery sort of thing,
The
and
mouse hovery thing, and that would
right.
be a perfect use case for, we touched upon it briefly, optimistic UI. So that would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
like a topic we discuss. Yeah, that would be fun.
So cool.
Definitely. Nice. Let's do that.
Perfect. Perfect. I think, yeah. Let's wrap it up like that. I just thought
Absolutely.
this we could totally turn our prototyping project into a succession of how to build individual components for real. But let's see. Like we wanted to keep it
Yeah.
open, and
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
see how far we go.
Cool. Sounds
Right?
good. Nice. Then
Cool.
I would say see you next time.
See you next time. Exactly. Ciao, Judith.
Bye.
Bye.